What is up, 2K crew? Man, oh man, it's time flying. Good Lord, it is almost Christmas. And as you can see by the decor here, and I got some other stuff in mind here too, so stick around because especially fun if you're on the YouTube side here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we are getting kind of festive here. Because why the hell not? Why the hell not? It's almost Christmas, so let's do it right. Let's do it right. And as you can probably tell, if you are on the YouTube side, that I am rolling solo this week. Mr. 2K's had a family get-together because it is the Christmas season. So if you're watching, you're stuck with this mug all night. But if you are on the YouTube side, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, drop a comment, because especially when I'm rolling solo, it does make the show kind of flow better. Gets the conversation going when you guys do comment, and I will feature you right here on the screen. So don't hesitate to do that. And if you are watching the replay, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts, because we're going to get into some Lions football, some NFL all around football. How's the playoffs going to shake out, and much more. So let's get locked in, because you have found the Turbo and 2K show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 2K crew, one and all. I didn't forget the podcast side, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening on the podcast, go ahead and give us a follow, give us a like. And if you guys are feeling ultra saucy, I know it is the I know it is that time of year, but if you guys are feeling extra saucy, go to buyturboabeer.com, buy 2Ks and I a beer, and you will help out the show financially as well. And on top of that, you do get if you do sign up for our monthly thing, where it's kind of like the Patreon model, where it takes out money once a month. You become a subscriber. You get early access to all the podcasting material. After the first of the year, I'm going to redo some merch, so our membership there will get first access to the new merch. And I also do a weekly blog, and you'll get emailed whenever that gets out. So let's jump into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump into it, because man, oh man, did we have... This was a really, really weird week in the NFL, and I got my phone here with the Bucs game going to kick off here any minute. But yeah, it's just some weird scores, some weird happenings, and probably the weirdest of them all is MCDC and the boys over in Detroit getting a huge win. And man, oh man, not even just a huge win. They beat an Arizona Cardinals team that has been knocking my phone over. But they beat an Arizona Cardinals team that is, by a lot of people's accounts, the best team in the NFL. Not only in the NFC, but in the NFL. And you had a quarterback in Kyler Murray, who a lot of folks were kind of penciling in as one of the top candidates for the MVP award with his play. And we've honestly seen this Cardinals team play without Kyler Murray and win convincingly. So I have a feeling that if you are the betting type, which if you've watched this show for any amount of time, you know that 2Ks and I do like to make an occasional bet or two. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of folks lost some money on this one. And the final score, Lions 30, Cardinals 12. And to be real honest, 2K crew, I was holding my breath on this one. I didn't get to watch hardly any of it, but let me get to the box score here. But it's one of those things where, all right, the Lions come out hot, they punch Arizona right in the mouth, and I'm just waiting for the other shoe to fall. I'm not a Lions fan. That's not a secret, but I've seen enough Lions games. Where we live, there's a ton of Lions fans. So it's one of those things where, okay, they jump out to the big lead. Obviously, they're the Lions, so they're not going to hold anything. So what's it going to be? How are they going to lose this one? How is it going to go down? And as we know, the Lions do tend to make up ways to lose games. So which way is it going to be this week, MCDC? Which one is it? Dan Campbell, how is this team going to lose? And for a 2-11-1 team now after beating the Cardinals, this team has some, and 2Ks and I have talked about this. It is quite easy for, even go back a few weeks, a winless team this far along in the season. You know you're the butt of every NFL joke. And if you're a Lion or a Lions fan, you yourself have been the butt of said jokes. So it'd be easy just for those players, even though they are paid, they still have a job to do, but just to mail it in. Just totally lose interest, mail the season in, keep getting my check, and let's either get the hell out of Detroit or let's move on and see what happens next year. And that is not the case. These MCDC and this coaching staff has this team fired up. We saw probably, it's definitely Jared Goff's best game in a Lions uniform. Maybe one of his better games in his career. He goes 21 of 26, 216 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and for a quarterback rating of 93.8. And they did all of this with obviously some people out medically, as well as DeAndre Swift didn't even play in this game, but we're seeing some instant returns with the Lions with their draft picks. I mean, Sewell he's already going up boards and with being quite possibly the best right tackle or the best tackle in the game, and even at a rookie. And quietly, Amon-Ra St. Brown is just, he was the top target today. He had 11 targets, 8 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown. I think they might have, I'm not going to say they struck gold on this one, but it's the dividends for where they drafted this young man to where he is now is just, kudos to the Lions front office. And how many times can we actually say that about a draft pick? It seems like in the past here, myself included, have just buried the Lions, buried their front office staff, have buried the entire organization from the top down because they brick so many times on the draft. And I don't know if it's just the aura of Detroit, because we've seen the Pistons do this. Not so much the Lions, but or not the Lions, but the Tigers. But it does seem to like there's something in the water over there in Detroit that causes these just immense errors in drafting. But we're seeing this Craig Reynolds kid. I actually had to Google him because I didn't even know who he was. His college is Cuztown. Where the fuck is Cuztown? Have no idea. But he was the Lions' leading rusher today and ironically enough goes over 100 yards, which has kind of been the bugaboo with this team for decades, is probably since Barry Sanders. Can they get a running back that can consistently hit that 100-yard mark? And I'm not saying this Reynolds kid is the real deal. All I'm just saying is that for this team to go up against an Arizona defense that is nasty. And yes, I know they don't have J.J. Watt right now. I know that. But when it comes down to it, let me turn my volume down here just a little bit. Let's do it this way. I do see it creeping up there, so I do apologize if I'm blowing your eardrums out. But no, just to get back to that fact, and then going into the season, DeAndre Swift was the guy. We've seen him have some very good success leading up to and in before this injury. So maybe that's a good sign, Lions fans, that this Reynolds kid comes out of nowhere, drops 100, and is able to hit that 100-yard. Maybe this is the equation on that offensive line that has not been there obviously for quite some time. But just an overall great game. Just a great game. And let's go over some of the passing totals here, or the stats for the Cardinals. Kyler goes 23 of 41, 257, a touchdown and an interception. I needed James Conner. I was banking on James Conner having a fantastic game, and he did not. He had 8 carries for 39 yards, did not reach the end zone. And Edmonds had 6 carries, 53 yards, did not reach the end zone. Kirk had 9 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. So definitely a very out of sorts game for this Cardinals team. But kind of the big story here, ladies and gentlemen, kind of the big story is what I named the show today. Is this late season winning, is it good for the Lions? Is it ultimately good for the Lions? Because right now, that gives them 2 wins, and that is by far the least in the NFC. Let's look at the AFC. The Jets have 3 wins, and the Jaguars have 2 wins. So right now, let's see, winning percentage 143, and yeah, right as it sits, if the season were to end right now, Jacksonville would get the number 1 pick. Because of that tie with Pittsburgh, the Lions have a winning percentage of 1.179, whereas the Jags have 1.143. So, if you're a Lions fan, do you like these wins? Do you like this momentum? Do you like that this team has fight? As an outsider looking in, I like it. I like it because we're seeing something in this team that hasn't been there in a while, and that is some fight, some fucking fight. And they are just going out there playing for Dan Campbell, playing for that crew over there, and like I said earlier, they could just roll over and lay down. Now, the one caveat here, ladies and gentlemen, when it does come to the draft pick is there really isn't that jump off the page stud quarterback that is waiting for that number 1 pick. There's a lot of folks out there that are saying Thibodeau out of Oregon is the number 1 pick. The DN from Michigan, those two seem to be vying for that number 1 spot. Is it viable? Are either of those, Hutchinson, that's his name, are either of those dudes worth the number 1 pick? Absolutely, But when it comes now, if it does come down and Jacksonville is the number 1 pick, of course they took Trevor Lawrence last year. They're not going to go quarterback. They're not going to go quarterback at all. But the quarterback prospects coming up are not like the last couple years, the last handful of years. You know, just going back to last year, I mean, there was 3 in the top. I mean, the top 3 picks were quarterbacks. Justin Fields slides. Mac Jones slides. So there's 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I do not see 5 quarterbacks being taken in the first round this year, even close. Could I be wrong because I haven't watched a lot of these dudes? Sure. But ultimately, I really don't think that there is that standout quarterback stud like we've seen in the past. Now, it will be interesting to see how moving forward, now that Two Guns Urban is out of Jacksonville, where does that team go? In my opinion, they can only go up for sure. Never, and we've on the show here, 2Ks and I have talked at nauseum about Urban Meyer, and the one thing I can say is thank God he did not go to Notre Dame, because I have a feeling if he walked into Notre Dame, he might catch on fire just because of what he does, who he is, and kind of what the university stands for. Just my opinion. But yeah, that football wise, he's a good football coach. I just don't like everything else that comes with it. And so it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. And it's interesting too, as how not only are you going to have to bring in a new coach, in my opinion, get rid of the whole, just start fresh with, starting from the GM down. That roster has some studs. That roster has some players. When ETN's going to be back next year, that was their second first round pick this year. So one of the new toys that Urban was going to get to play with wasn't even available. So that roster does have some things in it that are very good. So who's going to be this next regime? Where is it going to take them? And just I'm real excited just because, like I said, the talent is there in Jacksonville. It's just the coaching staff has not been. But yeah, ultimately, my opinion with the Lions, keep it winning, keep it rolling. Even if you were to draft a quarterback at number 1, or if the season ended today and you were the number 2 pick, that quarterback would still be there. I have a very good feeling, unless someone mortgages the next 3 or 4 years draft picks to move up into that number 1 spot. But then again, like I said, in my opinion, there is not a quarterback worthy enough to even trade that much capital to get up there. Or even if I am the Jags, I'm not even thinking about taking a quarterback. And that's where the 2 DNs would come in very, very handy. So I don't think it's a bad thing. Now, if there was that Trevor Lawrence, that stud quarterback, the Joe Burrows, that type of class, then yeah, it would be. I'm not saying it would be worth it to tank, but yeah, it in my opinion, it would definitely be worth it. So, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Like I said, the draft class here is not stellar, so it would not be advantageous to have the number 1 pick this year. Let's continue whipping around the NFL here, ladies and gentlemen. Before I do that, I want to introduce you to my friend, other way, right here, Mr. Reindeer. What's up, dude? What's up, dude? Good to see you. He wants to talk about the Bills and Panthers. So let's jump into it. We saw, man, this Buffalo team is up and down. Yes, I know that they're playing a Carolina team that has my favorite player, Cam Newton, on it. And there was so many people just ranting and raving about how Cam Newton looked just like he did when he left Carolina. Didn't even skip a beat. Everything's going to be fine. He's going to be the savior of the Carolina Panthers. Well, I tell you what, that dude stinks. He fucking stinks. The stat line from today is not any different from. It's actually probably a little bit better than when he was in New England. But 18 for 38, 156 yards passing, a touchdown and a pick. That's a QBR of 15.7. Horrible, absolutely horrible. He did lead the team in carries and rush yards at 15 carries at 71 yards and a touchdown. And before any of the Cam lovers just drop shit on me, I understand there's no Christian McCaffrey. I get that. I completely understand that. But this team, especially for a dude that sat out and didn't play for the vast majority of the season. This is like his 3rd or 4th week back, and you're having him throw 38 fucking times against a Buffalo defense that is really legit. Are they porous? Have we seen them kind of suck it up here the last couple weeks or on and off weeks? Sure. But the one main storyline, 2K crew, that I want you to take out of this is Josh Allen goes 19 for 34, 210 yards, 3 touchdown passes, and a pick. But here's the stat that jumps out to me. Devin Singletary has 22 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. 22 carries for a team that is extremely pass happy. And when you have a dude like Josh Allen, I completely understand wanting to air the ball out. And on most weeks, he is the best running back on the team because the dude is a tank. He's a tank and he's fast as hell. So why not put the ball in your best player's hands? I get that. But when you're balanced like this, they had 34 passes, 27 rushes. That's damn near exactly the same. That's damn near where you want this. So I really don't understand why this team gets away from this. I really don't. And Davis has 5 catches, 85 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So it's good to see Josh Allen and the Bills back on the winning side because that team is so much fun to watch. And Josh Allen is, he's definitely a stud. He's going to be here for quite a while. Let's jump to, it ended up being one of the most entertaining games of the day. The Jets at the Dolphins. Dolphins come out with a win 31-24. Don't look now, Dolpham, but I think this is 5 straight wins Five or six straight wins for the Dolphins. Yes, I understand it was over the Jets, but if you watched or kept an eye on this game, it was not good. Not good. For a while. I'm almost positive it was like midway through the first quarter. Tua was 0 for 2 with a pick. So yeah, definitely not the start the team wanted. But you know what? They did end up coming on top. Tua goes 16 for 27, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. And Duke Johnson, didn't even know Duke was still in the league, has 22 carries for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devontae Parker led the receivers, 4 catches, 68 yards and a touchdown. And switch over to the Jets side. Zach Wilson goes 13 for 23 for 170. No touchdowns, no picks. And Tevin Coleman had 8 carries for 50 yards. Jamison Crowder had 5 catches for 40 yards. So there wasn't even though with the 24 points scored, wasn't a whole lot of offense. I think those 2 interceptions from Tua kind of shortened the field for this Jet squad. And just kudos to the Dolphins. Kudos to the Dolphins for getting a win when they should. And because this was definitely a game that the Dolphins should have won, and shouldn't even have been close. Should not have even have been close. Well, 2K crew, if you guys have any questions or want to chime in, go ahead and drop a comment. I will feature you here on the show. Let's get a conversation started. Let's go. Let's have some fun. It's almost Christmas. And after this week, ladies and gentlemen, there's, I think, 3 weeks left in the NFL season. So let's get stoked. Let's go. Speaking of let's go, let's talk about the boys and the Giants. Cowboys with a big win, 21-6 over the Giants. Even though the Cowboys won this game, I am going to, especially since 2K isn't here, I'm going to bash the Cowboys. This is a team that, on paper, should beat this Giants team 50-3, not 21-6. Not at all. This Giants team is so bad. Granted, with their situation, I mean, I didn't even know Mike Glennon was still in the league until this. So definitely it is a team that has been decimated with injuries all year. Add on top of that all the medical stuff that's going on. So they're in New York. They're definitely putting out a product that is not as polished, is not as finished as they would like. But yeah, Dak goes 28 for 37, 217 yards and 1 touchdown. Tony Pollard led the way with the rushing, 12 carries, 74 yards. Zeke went 16 carries, 52 yards and a touchdown. And Schultz, the tight end, leads the receivers with 8 catches for 67 yards and a touchdown. This team, CeeDee Lamb had 50 yards. Michael Gallup had 32 yards. Amari Cooper has 2 catches for 8 yards. With what I said and all the players that I've mentioned, this team should not be 10-4. This team should be maybe 12-2, 13-1. And when they do win, they need to handily win against a depleted Giants squad that starts Mike fucking Glennon and has Jake Fromm come off the bench, which I don't even remember Jake Fromm going to the Giants. So Mike Glennon goes 13 for 24, 99 yards and 3 picks. So that defense was flying around. Diggs did get another interception. The defense did its job here. Devontae Booker, hold on. Yeah, Devontae Booker. Thought that's who it was. Booker goes 8 carries, 74 yards. Saquon has 15 carries, 50 yards. And Kenny Galladay catches 3 balls for 33 yards. So obviously with a score like 6, you really don't expect to see many touchdowns up there. But the Cowboys are going to win this division. The Cowboys are going to get into the playoffs. And if I was a Cowboys fan, would I be super pumped and just this team is just going to go into wherever we need to go and just shit down everybody's neck? Absolutely not. This offense should be hitting on cylinders that they haven't even touched since like week 3 or week 4. I don't understand what's going on with this team. Are they still winning? Yeah, but man, if you're a Cowboys fan, you want that score 45-6, 50-6, something like that, not 21-6. Not at all. Not at all. So kudos for the boys for winning a game you should, but in my opinion, that score needs to be a whole hell of a lot different. And just a score update, looks like there's 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. Saints-Bucks, 0-0, Saints with the ball. Let's jump over to Pennsylvania. Let's go visit the Titans at the Steelers. I did watch most of this game. I really did. This was a weird game. As everyone knows, the Tennessee is not the same team without Derrick Henry. No team would be. And then you add on top of that the losses of Brown. Julio Jones is there. He isn't there. Even if he is there, he's not catching the ball. What the hell's going on? And we constantly see Ryan Tannehill committing crucial turnovers. When they were rolling hot, even when Henry first went down, Tannehill was keeping the ball, wasn't giving it away, wasn't committing many turnovers, and now we see at least a pick or two every game. And it seems like they come at the most inappropriate, stupid times. I mean, granted, there probably isn't a good time to have a turnover, but when you're driving and you're just trying to get some momentum and you throw that crucial pick, that for a lot of teams that can be just a backbreaker. But yeah, 19-13. Like I mentioned, Tannehill goes 23 of 32, 153 yards and a pick. Foreman's been probably a saving grace for this team, or at least a silver lining. That kid is running like his hair's on fire. 22 carries, 108 yards, and Tannehill did sneak it across the goal line for the only touchdown scored for the Titans. And Westbrook goes 4 catches, 32 yards. So all in all, this Pittsburgh defense did keep the Titans offense pretty much bottled up. Obviously, they scored 13 points, but Pittsburgh somehow ekes this out as 7-6-1. A lot of folks were, talking about how this could be the first losing record that Mike Tomlin will ever have. Which, if you stop and think about it and realize how long that gentleman has been in the league, that is quite an accomplishment. So, from what I remember, their schedule does not get any easier. But the good part is, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit, is that AFC North is not nailed down by anybody. It seems like nobody wants it. Nobody wants to win it. So, like I said, we will get into that here in a little bit. But Big Ben goes 16 for 25, 148 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Najee Harris. If you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, this is the part that should be just embarrassing as hell. Najee Harris, 12 carries, 18 yards. I'll say that again, 12 carries, 18 yards. They ran the ball 17 times. 17 times. This team, historically, traditionally, is a ground and pound. And there's no grounding or pounding happening whatsoever. So, and I know fully that I'm giving a very, very harsh critique on the Steelers, even though they won. At the end of the day, it's a win. It's against a Tennessee team that is or was leading the AFC South. So you beat a potential playoff-bound team. And by all means, I still really do think that Tennessee will end up in the playoffs. But will it be with Derrick Henry or without him? Because I don't know if how far along he is with his with his rehab. So again, it seems to be it was a trend today. It seemed like there wasn't a whole lot of scoring with any of these. Not a whole lot of offense until we get a little bit later here. But let's keep it rolling. So let's jump over to the Jags, like we talked about, the post-Urban Meyer era, and it went about the same as it did when he was there. Dougie Mills goes 19 for 30, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Rex Burkhead, the Rex Burkhead from the Patriots lore, 16 carries for 41 yards. Brandon Cooks has a day, 7 catches, 102 yards for 2 touchdowns. And switch over here to the Jags. Trevor Lawrence goes 22 of 38, 210 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Robinson has 18 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown. And I have no idea who this dude is, so let's click on him. James O'Shaughnessy, the tight end from Illinois State. The pride of Illinois State, James Shaughnessy. Let's see here. Let me get back to the page. James Shaughnessy, 4 catches, 60 yards. Leads the way for the receivers. So, yeah, the post-Urban era did not get the start that I'm sure. I don't even know who the coach is, to be honest with you. Really don't care. But probably not the way he had it drawn up. But those are just 2 bad teams. 2 bad teams that probably neither one deserved to win. But since some people are keeping a score, one person or one team usually does have to win. But yeah. So enough about that. Let's talk about a game that was actually cool. Let's talk about the Bengals and the Broncos. Bengals at the Broncos. This Bengals team, like we talked about, I think it was last week or the week before. This team is so hard to figure out. They are so young. They have so much talent. And it seems like it's 1 week they do good, 1 week they do shitty. 1 week they do good, 1 week they do shitty. So obviously it was the game to do good. But once we flip around to the Broncos stats here, you'll kind of see why. But Burrow goes 15 for 22, 157 yards and a touchdown. Joe Mixon has 17 carries for 58 yards. Tyler Boyd, 5 catches, 96 yards and a touchdown. And if we flip over to Denver side, Bridgewater goes 12 of 22 for 98 yards before he went out. And Drew Lock stepped in, went 6 for 12 with a touchdown and 88 yards. Williams has 15 carries, 72 yards. Melvin Gordon has 15 carries, 53 yards. And not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name, but Albert O, the tight end. He led the way with receiving at 3 catches for 58 yards. Noah Fant had 5 catches for 57 yards. And Drew Lock did have a fumble. So I'm pretty sure that's where the discrepancy in the score came out. But I think at this stage of the season, we can put Denver on that dead pile. Denver, I think, is dead. So let's keep on cruising, ladies and gentlemen. Keep on cruising. 49 Falcons at the 49ers. This game had some stats. This game had some stats here. At the beginning of this game, Atlanta was hanging in there. Atlanta was giving San Francisco everything they could handle. Matt Ryan ends up with a line of 19 for 32, 236 yards and a touchdown. Davis has 6 carries for 21 yards. Cordell Patterson has 11 carries for 18 yards. Gage has 8 catches, 91 yards and a touchdown. Kyle Pitts gets 4 catches and 77 yards. But the Niners, Jimmy G goes, excuse me, it was 18 for 23, 235 yards and a touchdown. Wilson Jr. has a big game, 21 carries, 210 yards and a touchdown. Debo has 6 carries, 29 yards and a touchdown. And Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, 1 carry, 6 yards and a touchdown. And Kittle, man, George Kittle is the reason this team is balling out. It's not Jimmy G. It's not the run game. It's him and Debo. This team goes as this offense goes as these two go. And there's no way you can argue that with me. And the resurgence of the San Francisco team has been on the back of George Kittle and Debo Samuel. Kittle has 6 catches for 93 yards. Debo has 4 catches for 60 yards. So this team is getting, and I believe we talked about it last week. I know 2Ks is not a Jimmy G fan. I don't love him. I don't hate him. He does have flashes of goodness, but Can he do it consistently, and can he do it on the big stage? I think is what we're all waiting to find out. And I'm pretty sure everyone in San Francisco is wondering the same exact thing. Either that or they're wondering, when the hell is Trey Lance going to get a shot? So we shall see. We shall see. Let's finish out today's game with the one that just ended. Green Bay at Baltimore. If you're a Packers fan, you have to love the win. You got to love the win because, A, you keep that number one spot in the NFC race, but you're playing against a Ravens team that is so banged up, so sick, and you still win by 1 point. Still win by 1 point, and kudos to John Harbaugh for doing it now, I think 2 weeks in a row. At the end of the game, instead of kicking the extra point to tie the game, potentially send it to overtime, he says, nope, fuck this, watch this, we're going to go for 2. And we didn't get it either time. We didn't get it either time. But big shout out to Aaron Rodgers. Big shout out. Has 23 for 31, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns. And the third one, the last one, tied Brett Favre for the most passing touchdowns as a Packer. Aaron Jones. Jones and Dillon had a hell of a game, both of them. Jones has 13 carries, 56 yards. Dillon has 7 carries, 22 yards, and a touchdown. MVS, Valdez-Scantling, 5 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 6 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Seems like just a regular seems like this stat line for every one of these guys is exactly the same every week. Every week, and it's consistency. But I tell you who had the biggest game in my opinion was Mr. Hutley. Mr. Hutley stepping in for Lamar Jackson. Goes 28 of 40, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And he was also the team's leading rusher with 13 carries for 73 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he accounted for 4 touchdowns throughout the day. And another big game from Mark Andrews, my dude, 10 catches, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hollywood Brown has 10 catches for 43 yards. Yes, like I mentioned, it is a good win for the Packers, but this game should have never even been close. Never even been close. And let's jump into let's do this one first. Patriots and Colts. I did catch a little bit of this game last night. And from what I saw, it was one hell of a game. Colts come out on top 27-17. And excuse me, Mac Jones goes 26 of 45, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Stevenson leads the way in the backfield with 10 carries, 36 yards. And Hunter Henry is the leading receiver. 6 catches for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. Flip over to the Colts. This is the funny part of this game. Carson Wentz goes 5 for 12, 57 yards, a touchdown and a pick. 5 for 12, 57 yards. That's just crazy to me. That is absolutely crazy. But Jonathan Taylor, JT, the man, the myth, the legend, your NFL leading rusher, adds to that total 29 yards, 170 yards, and a score. And receiving-wise, like I said, there was only 5 completions. So leading receiver, Zach Pascal, 1 catch, 23 yards. Nyheim Hines had 1 catch, 8 yards, and the lone passing touchdown. So if you were a fantasy owner and did have Jonathan Taylor, you're eating. You are eating. But for whatever reason, if you are still in contention and had Carson Wentz as your quarterback, you're probably going to lose in the playoffs. So I do apologize for that. But if you probably, on the other hand, if you did have a Michael Pittman Jr., so that's a rough one. That's a rough one. But big win for the Colts. Big win for the Colts. Was this just a bad day for Mac Jones, Bill Belichick, and the boys, or is this something that I'm not going to say Indy figured out? I'm not going to say it's something that Indy kind of. They exposed Bill Belichick. No. This Colts team is good. I would not want to play them in the playoffs. I wouldn't want any part of that. Defense travels. Running games travel. Those two things can can live and you can be successful in the elements with both of them. Granted, if the game does happen to be in Indianapolis, it will be sunny and 70 every game there. But this Colts team is hot. Colts team is hot. If this Colts team would have started out as good as they are now, they would be leading the AFC South right now. Absolutely 100%. And we will switch over to that and talk about the playoffs here in a little bit. But yeah, I would not want to play this Colts team at all. At all. And we do have tomorrow night coming up. Well, let's talk about the game tonight, because we do have the Saints-Bucks going on right now. Right now it's 3-0 Saints. And obviously, if you're picking this game based on the quarterbacks, you got to give the nod to TB12. Taysom Hill's 4 for 7 for 64 yards. Kamara has 4 catches for 14 yards, or 4 carries for 14 yards. And Tom Terrific is 7 of 10 for 48 yards, and Goodwin has 3 catches for 35 yards. Obviously, no touchdowns, just a field goal in this game. But it seems like the Saints have this weird ability to knock off Tampa whenever they want to. And wouldn't that be kind of ironic with, Taysom Hill he's your third string quarterback according to Sean Payton. Because obviously Jameis went down. They brought in Trevor Siemian. He started a couple games. Then they went to Taysom Hill. Had a little bit of success with Taysom. So not to say he's a bum. Not to say he's a bum by any means. But in my opinion, he's definitely not on the caliber of quarterbacks that Sean Payton is used to having. So I'm sure this is going to have to be some of his most creative football and creative coaching of his career. So I don't know. I would still have to take Tampa in this one, just because every time I bet against TB12, he really, really fucks me. So definitely not doing that. So we'll see when, not if, but when TB12 turns it on and that score, we do see that score change. But let's jump ahead to Monday night, because 2K Crew, we got football Monday. We got football Tuesday. So yeah, we got the Vikings at the Bears at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, 8:15. And the Raiders and Browns on looks like it's NFL Network at 5 o'clock. And according to the odds on this, Minnesota's a 6.5-point favorite and Cleveland is a 3-point favorite. I think those are pretty damn accurate. Pretty damn accurate. But give me the Bears and the Browns on those. Seahawks at the Rams on Tuesday. Rams are 7-point favorite. Washington at Philly. Philly's a 6.5-point favorite. And if I remember right, there's a lot of shit going on with that Washington team. So both teams are 6-7. That to me, that seems like a very high. 6.5 seems like a lot of points. So I picked very few games this weekend just because of everything that's going on. Who's playing, who's not. We don't know. I do know that. Was it the Browns yeah, I think it is the Browns that get a quarterback off the street or some shit. So maybe give me the Raiders. I don't know. But I would like to see the Rams beat the Seahawks, and I would like to see Washington beat the Eagles. So we'll see on that. But regardless, it's an early Christmas present from the NFL. We get games on Saturday, we get games on Sunday, we get games on Monday, and we get games on Tuesday. What better way to start? Kiddos are off for a Christmas break. So, hell, football in full effect and kind of getting us warmed up. Kind of getting that fire started, getting the hot cocoa going for the bowl games. The second weekend of the bowl games. This is going to be awesome. Speaking of bowl games, big shout out to Ferris State for winning their D2 championship. Kudos to you guys. Kudos to you. Always cool to see a Michigan school win stuff like that. But let's switch over to the standings here. Let's switch over to the standings. AFC East, the Pats are up 1 game on the Bills. And the Dolphins are sitting there at 7-7. Yes, Jets are out of it. Let's just not even talk about them. But this, I mean, there is a... Well, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Jeff says, I've got a pretty mouth on the podcast. Well, thank you. Thank you. But even with so few games left, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this Dolphins team could sneak in. It really could. And they're hot. They're hot right now. So why not? But I do think this division is going to come down to both the Patriots and the Bills, and I do believe they play again. So, yeah, that's definitely very tight. AFC West, Chargers are sitting at 10-4, or excuse me, the Chiefs at 10-4. Chargers are 8-6. This division is done. It's over. The Chiefs have, I'm not going to say figured it out, but like we talked last week, they've flipped that switch, and yeah, they're the only team in the AFC with 10 wins. So AFC North is going to be the big clusterfuck here because the Bengals are sitting atop at 8-6. The Steelers are at the bottom at 7-6-1. And I believe all these teams still have to play each other at least once, or there's like this weird round robin situation going on, or I know there's some interdivision games is what I'm trying to say. So the realm of possibility for the Steelers team to win this division is very low, but it's still there. But it is the Bengals division to lose right now. With the Ravens being as banged up as they are, again, almost now if they would have squeaked it out and beat Aaron Rodgers and the Pack, then you kind of have to, especially with all those players gone, you would kind of have to give them the nod as to the top team in that division. But it seems like this is the division of mediocrity, where it really shouldn't, because there's some good players in this division. There's some good coaches in this division. Don't understand why maybe it's they just keep beating up on each other. But there's more going on to it than that. We talked about the AFC South and the Colts and the Titans. The Titans are 9-5. The Colts are right there behind them at 8-6. Jags, Texans, both done. So it's getting. If I was a betting man, which I am, I would hammer the Colts to win this division. I really would. I still think the Titans make the playoffs, but it's going to be a wild card. So that's where the AFC sits. The NFC. Packers have the best record in football. Let's start with the North at 11-3. Nearest competitor is the Vikings at 6-7. Their Packers are winning this division. Buccaneers are playing right now. They're 10-3. All the other teams in the NFC South are below 500, so they're riding into the playoffs. The Cardinals are sitting at 10-4 after that big embarrassing loss to the Lions. The Rams sit right behind them at 9-4. So this is a must-win for the Rams against, I believe it was the Seahawks we talked about. And again, Cowboys are sitting at 10-4. There was a little bit of life with the Washington football team. It did seem like they were kind of gaining ground on the Cowboys, but I think their run is done. Their run is done. I really don't think there's going to be much. We definitely still have to keep an eye out on the NFC West with the Cards and the Rams. And other than that, I think the divisions are pretty much locked up where we might see some drama when it comes to the wild card spots. So it's kind of your conference breakdown, if you will. Conference breakdown. So yeah, it's been a hell of a week of football. Absolutely love it. I did promise some more cool shit, so take a look at this. Look at that guy. Look at that guy right there. He's coming. December 25th, he'll be here. Do you know him? How about this guy? Hey. Oh, damn. See the arm on that elf? Damn. Figured we have some fun here. It's getting close to the holidays. Let's have some fun. And yeah, these guys will stick around until we'll probably retire them next week. But speaking of Jeff, he says, good evening, Turbo. Good evening to you, my friend. Good evening to you. Man, when it comes to this season, it's good that there's so much weird shit going on. But on the other hand, it can be kind of frustrating because there's so much weird shit going on. And like we kind of hinted at and kind of touched last week is after the season, because it's a 17-game season now. After the season, what are the players going to think? What are there going to be their reactions going forward? How's that team, those two teams that play in the Super Bowl with that extra week, how is that going to play in? Especially if it's one of those teams that does not have the bye. Think about that. With this long schedule, it gives the number one seeds in each conference that much more emphasis on getting that number one seed, because you do have that very valuable bye week, especially towards the end of the year, where players are at their most banged up, they're hurt the most. So it's going to be interesting going forward this off season to kind of get some of the reactions of the players, of the coaches, the training staff, things like that. So I'm stoked. I'm ready to go, and I'm pretty sure I'll have to check. I won't tease next week's show because I do need to do some research. Yeah, I do research occasionally. I do. Not too often. That's why 2Ks is here, so he can do it on the fly. But no, we've got to start talking about some college hoops. We got to do that. I know I think we've kind of teased it a little bit, but we're gonna have to go balls in on that just because it's that time of year. We gotta get 2K crew ready for March Madness already in December. Yeah, you can barely even say that with a straight face. But no, ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far, I do want to thank you. 2K crew, we love you to death. And yeah, I was looking on. We have just shy of 300 subs on YouTube, so let's make it a goal. Let's make it a goal to hit that 200. So if go ahead and share the video out of love, out of generosity in your heart, and yeah, comment on everything. Another thing I wanted to mention was the 2K Crew Facebook group, facebook.com/group/2K Crew. We're at almost 500 members. Who would have ever thought that 500 people would be interested in hearing Kyle and I talk about sports? I love it. I absolutely love it. So, and what's weird to think is there's 500 people in our Facebook group and only less than 300 YouTube subs. Interesting. No, I'm just kidding. Well, 2K Crew, I will leave you out of here on that. Everyone have a great week. I'm not sure about the schedule next week because of Christmas, but we should be doing Sunday, I think. I think if nothing else, you'll probably get another solo show from me. But everyone have a great week. It's Christmas. It's the season of hope. So spread hope, spread cheer, spread love. Just don't spread the icky stuff. So I will see you guys next week. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.